Oh, he's got it through. Threaded the needle. Well, the cut shot's working well, really well for Samit Patel. Nails that. Another boundary. Just extraordinary.
What is happening, Denny? Hard to believe the way Qalandars have bounced back.
Up and away, uppercut. Oh, Samit Patel. Yeah.
Today. Samit Patel, a trump card.
Confidence, very important as an international player. Bit of stubbornness, bit of self-interest. In terms of skills, so we've had a couple of these where some of the guests have said that skills don't necessarily aren't necessarily very different between the levels. It's the preparation and the mindset. Do you subscribe to that, or do you think that the skill level has to be of a very big difference between first class and international cricket?
Absolutely, the skill levels are way higher.
Okay.
Just for repetition of how long you can do it. So, first class cricket, you'll get a bowler producing a spell probably every 5 games, 6 games, count your bowler. International cricket, you're going to see it out of 5 games, you'll get it 3. You just see it, like the Dale Steins, the Jimmy Andersons. You just know. Chaddy!
Yeah, Chadwick is on now. I thought I'd get a surprise guest for you.
Yeah.
Ah, jeez.
Yes, Chaddy boy.
Mr. Samit, you're looking young.
Yeah, man, still.
Yeah, still letting go pies?
Absolutely.
Mr. Jackson, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad. Thanks for joining and jumping in on somebody else's call.
That's my good friend, so I don't think he would mind.
All right, so the people on the call, Chadwick Walton has joined us. I'm sure a lot of you know him. A good friend of mine, grew up together. Jamaican, West Indian, now T20 global star. So Samit and him know each other from the circuit. You guys played on the same team? Or
Yeah.
just against each other?
No, we played the same team. We played at Islamabad.
Yeah.
Played same team, played against each other.
Which one you prefer? You prefer being on the same team, Chadwick, or you prefer to
No,
face up to the left hand?
No, he's my drinking partner. I need him on the team, man.
I have a lot more fun with him on the team, put it that way.
Yeah.
But I enjoy playing against him, fierce competitor. So, Samit will always be hitting you up on your phone, giving you all sort of idle talk, what he wants to do and what he's going to do. So you can't afford to let Samit get you out. So for me personally, it's better to play with him on my team. I can't deal with all the noise in the background after cricket.
Does that sound like a similar personality though? That's same type of traits that you have.
Same
Talk
type
a
of
good game. Talk a good game like a Heineken. Like to hit the ball really hard. Yeah?
Samit don't really hit the ball very hard though, but
He did claim earlier that he smashes it everywhere.
Samit, come on, man. Come on, Samit, come on.
Chaddy, the deflection is just as good as a smash.
Good comeback. I have to give you that.
All right. So while both here on the call, it might be the right time to talk about the Pakistan Super League. What you guys have played in different franchises around the world. What is different about the PSL?
For me personally, the difference is the quality of the local players. I mean, the skill level. They're very skilled and very talented. So when you have a bunch of overseas persons coming in and basically improving the standard, for want of a better term, and you have the locals at such high standards, then it is a very competitive tournament.
Samit, what do you think? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing. I just think the standard of bowling, especially in the PSL, you just got to look around the attacks. Like Karachi had Mohamed Amir, Chris Jordan, and then you've got Kazami had Wahab, Hassan Ali, Quetta had Hussain, or the fast quartet of Pakistan had Hussain, Naseem Shah, then had all the overseas. You put Dale Steyn in there. The comp is so good because of their bowling. Like Pakistan have always produced bowlers, and their fast bowlers especially. So that's why I rate that comp pretty up there. It's up there with, it's got to be up there with the IPL.
All right, so you played a lot of franchise cricket around the world. Which competitions haven't you played in yet?
I've not played in the IPL and I've not played in the CPL, but apart from that, I've done it.
Chadwick, CPL, they can't sort out your friend?
Really and truly, I would love to, but I'm not in a position to really help.
Maybe in a year or two when you buy a franchise.
Yeah, probably when I buy a franchise, probably in a year time. Two might be a bit too far-fetched.
All right, so at the club level, I would say that training is extremely different to any form of professional cricket at most clubs. How does first-class cricket and the traditional setup of first-class cricket and their training, how is it different to the international franchises in terms of training? What's expected of the players? For
international franchises, well, as an international player, you're expected to be on your A game once you arrive. I don't think it is a matter of coaching the players. It's more of managing the egos and the talents and getting the right combination, getting persons in the right frame of mind to perform on the park. So that is it for the international franchise. For me, the club level now is where you do a lot more. As in the local clubs, you might find a lot more technical work being done. Persons might use the local club cricket as a stepping stone to bigger and better things. So, for example, here in Jamaica, I play for the University of the West Indies. So the university basically use our local club structure to get players to the next level, first class and beyond. And of course, we have seen some success in persons like Ravman Powell. We have Paul Palmer, and recently Akeem Fraser was also a part of our setup who went to the first class level.
All right, so Samit, with the experiences around the world in the various franchises, what can English teams and English administrators do or take from those competitions to help improve the product?
Definitely, we've had this chat before. The Big Bash opened my eyes a little bit of the crowd that they get, and it's how well they market. The marketing factor of a comp is crucial, and I think that everywhere you go in Australia during the Big Bash, they are always talking about the Big Bash, and everyone's got their kit. They're pretty loyal, and during that 6-week block, everyone's speaking Big Bash. And I don't know what Chaddy can say about the CPL, but it's not, the Blast doesn't work like that. It's no more of it's always a friendly atmosphere at the Blast, but the kids are not always talking Big Bash. They're not always talking cricket. And I think that's the big thing. If we've got a Blast or we've got the 100, you need everyone to be speaking the 100 up. And it's how well you market that. It's crucial for comps to last. I don't know what Chaddy thinks about the CPL, but...
Samit, why you keep pulling me inside your answers on everything you want to do? You want to pull me inside everything. You ask you a direct question. I think you should answer the question.
I've answered my bit of the question, but you play in the CPL.
The CPL, when it comes to marketing, I think more can be done when it comes to memorabilia. And as it relates to marketing CPL as a family-oriented product, I think we might be a bit lacking in that, but it's marketed properly. It's one of the biggest tournaments around the world. So for me, they're doing a good job, and given the challenges that we have in the Caribbean, where every franchise is based in a different territory, meaning in a different island, and there's a lot of flying in between islands. And so with all these challenges, I think they're doing a pretty good job.
All right, let's switch from that a little bit. Samit, at what point in time in your professional career would you say has been the most challenging? junior section that transitioned into the first class game. What time would you think was the most challenging?
There was a little bit of self-doubt when I was about 17, where, as you are pretty well, I was very naive to think that I should have been playing in the first team at Notts and wasn't scoring the runs that I should have been scoring, and still warranting a place in the first team was challenging for me, because I wasn't scoring the runs in the twos. But then I knew self-belief was a big factor for me. I knew I was good enough to play in the ones. I just wanted it a little bit more than I actually deserved it, if that makes sense. And challenging mentally for me was hard, because I knew the guys in the first team weren't scoring the runs, but then I actually wasn't scoring the runs myself in the second team. But then in my head, I'm thinking I still should be playing, that was a challenging period for me. That little 9 months where I went away to Australia and I thought, right, I need to score some big runs when I get home. That kind of turned it around. And then moving on from there, when I got dropped from England, was another challenging period. As I said, I got listened to the press, not fit enough. Do I think it was fair? Probably not. Didn't get handled that well. Obviously, there'll be doubt, there'll be faults in both sides, mine and the ECB's. But yeah, there was. Looking back on my career, I have not got many regrets, to be honest. Still now. So yeah, I'm pretty happy the way things have gone.
How did you deal with those disappointments with being dropped from England? Was that the first time you were being dropped from a professional team, by the way?
Yeah, that was the first time, yeah, because I performed for Notts, which got me an England place, and then I'd performed well for England, and then my first ever tour was that Stamford game in the West Indies. And then we toured straight to India, which was tough. Me being Indian, went to India, was a challenging place to be. And then we had a tour to the West Indies again, and they didn't pick me, and they said that I needed to sort it out. And yeah, it was a tricky. Reading the stuff in the press first time was hard work. And then from then on, it kind of got buried, and you get tagged with it. And my only way to get out of it was to prove a point. So every time I was on TV, I had to prove a point. And yeah, thankfully it worked. That playing cricket to prove a point helped me to get where I am. So,
is there any point in time where you think that might have been a catalyst, and yes, it's pushed you to be better? Do you think the reverse? Do you think that if there wasn't that type of media pressure and those setbacks, do you think it might have made you a little bit more comfortable to go out and perform, or you think it might have dropped your standards?
No, I'm not quite sure. It's a good question, actually. It might have made me play better if I didn't have the tag. If I could just go and play. But then roles can go the other way as well. Where I'm a big, as I said, I'm a big player on proving a point to people. And that's, yeah, it brings the best out of me, especially in big games, to proving a point, to say I'm not finished yet, or no, I'm actually good enough to play international cricket. That for me is the tipping point of making and breaking a player.
So you've been a performer, you've been a match winner. You pride yourself, it sounds, on being a match winner. Do you prefer that role, or do you want to be the guy that has the opportunity to set up games rather than always be the guy finishing?
Both roles I enjoy. Setting up a chase. So if we're chasing a big target, I like to set it in my own way. So yeah, I pride myself on doing both things, really, because I can do it with the bat or the ball. So I'm in a different camp either way.
Chadwick, let me jump to you, because I know you might have to leave soon. Your transformation over the years has been, I suppose, kind of amazing for me to see. So for the people who don't know, Chadwick and myself are the same year of youth cricket, come straight up, made first class debut together, everything else. But Chadwick, in my opinion, has always had the talent and ability. That's the type of person, right? But hasn't really and maybe you can come back to me on this one if you disagree, hasn't really or didn't start showing or fulfilling that potential until maybe later on in your career. Would you say that is fair or not really?
I would say that is fair. Most things, I think, looking back now, I've always been a late bloomer. I always had the talent, but for some strange reason, I never really excelled much at the international level, and the record is there to show. But on the circuit, I have seen brighter days on the circuit. As it relates to the transition that you and Samit was speaking about, I always think that the step up, as in from first class to international cricket, is such a great step in the Caribbean, as you can relate to. And persons might need a lot more time coming from a Caribbean background to really find their footing in international cricket as it relates to performance and consistency.
And that's to do with the system, you think that's the main reason?
A little bit about the system. Most of it has to do with the surfaces that we grew up on, and as opposed to when you're at the international level, the surfaces are a lot better, a lot different in terms of stroke playing, and we grew up with basically muscle in the ball. That's why we have so many big hitters in the Caribbean, in my opinion. But at the next level, pretty much everyone the talent is there, the skill level is there. So it is who is more disciplined. And probably we in the Caribbean is not as disciplined as we're supposed to be.
So Samit spoke about earlier, he spoke about not necessarily liking to be coached. He's a player that likes to figure things out on his own. What category would you put yourself in? Do you like to be coached, or do you like to figure things out on your own?
I would like to have an even balance, because sometimes we can be headstrong in what we believe in, and it not necessarily might be the best thing, because somebody with a lot more experience can have a different viewpoint, and their viewpoint might be better than yours, or can reap more success. So I think the balance should be there in terms of coaching and figuring it out on your own.
And your success has come in white ball cricket, right? Most of your success has come in white ball cricket. Samit has had, I suppose, a much broader range of success across all formats. Why was that in your case, in white ball cricket? Was that a change of mindset, or did that just suit your natural game?
I think a bit of change in mindset should be one of the attributes I would attribute to success, and the fact that it's a ever-changing game. The situation always dictates the way how you play. So the figuring it out on your own, that also helps. But for mostly it's a change in mindset. Pretty much later on in my career, I started listening and blindly following a lot more of what the coach had to say in terms of not challenging the coach. Because, I was always a challenging individual. I always challenged the coaches when I was growing up. But I started listening, binding to what the coach had to say, and still try to figure it out on my own. I still tweak it here and there to suit my personality and my style. But I think that is one of the reasons why I've seen a lot more success in my latter days.
All right.
Walton, straight down the ground. It's a big hit. It's a huge hit. Chadwick Walton.
I think he's a little bit excited. Fakri.
Oh yes, that's the way you do it. Calypso style.
Pretty clearly. It's always a good guess against Shad that he's going to go full. So all he had to do was get in the right position and help it on its way. Chadwick goes down the ground. Oh Lord! Oh Lord, have mercy!
They've got 70 odd. And again. Almost a replay of the last ball.
What can I say? Lahore Qalandars are losing the plot. They have got no idea what they're doing out there. Chadwick Walton, you beauty.
So Samit, when things aren't going right for you, right, with the bat, for example, what's your default? What do you go back to check that all the things are in the right place? Do you have a little checklist, or you just wait it out because you know it will come back to you?
Not really. I believe in a lot of trust. Basically try and go back to basics, watching the ball, play straight. All key elements for when you're in a bad trot and when you're not playing well is watch the ball properly and hard, and play straight and play late. Is for me is the 3 points of batting in all forms of just T20 cricket. That's 4-day cricket, 1-day cricket. That's everything. If you're not watching the ball and you're trying to guess, you're kind of playing risky business. But if you're actually watching it, then you're in control.
Has your training or how you've trained changed over the years? And if so,
now with the dog stick, I kind of use the flinger more than bowlers. I used to face bowlers all the time, and then I just suddenly stopped and then just use the flicker. I don't really face any bowlers anymore.
And the reason for that, why is that? Why do you prefer it?
Nothing. It's just then the practice is all about me, and it's not about. I'm not getting competitive against the bowler. I kind of save that for the game. I think we use a lot of energy in practice, and where it's sometimes wasted. And I'm not saying that you can't hit enough balls, but I think that the actual energy that you use playing against somebody else in practice is you need to save it for in my opinion now, what I know is save it for the game. Obviously you need to face bowlers at some point, and that will be on your responsibility of when you want to face bowlers and when you don't. But when I'm playing well, you kind of know what you need to do.
And in terms of your training sessions, can you give us I know training sessions vary depending on time of year and stuff, but if you had a long day of training, what would that session look like for you?
Long day of training
or a hard day of training? In terms of if you're batting, do you say, all right, I want 30 minutes and whoever is with the sidearm, you just go? Do you say I'm spending X amount of buckets on a bowling machine? What's your volume like?
No, sometimes when I was young, I used to hit a lot of balls, and sometimes for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Now I basically, if I feel good, I'll walk out 10 minutes, and that's how it is. But if you're playing bad, you're trying to hit as many balls as you can, trying to make it right, and make yourself feel good that you've got it right. Sometimes it's the opposite way. It has the effect. So now it's all about feeling good, and my mental. If I'm mentally right, then I'm playing well, and if I feel good body wise, then yeah, that's how I go on. The tough training is probably done when I was younger, and I've mentally installed it of how I train. And year on year, even pre-season when you play 4-day cricket, hitting balls, yeah, I start off hitting a lot of balls, and then it just comes down and down, until I need a reset, and then I go again to hit a lot of balls, and then drop it off. Because in England you play a lot of games. Elsewhere you don't get as many games. And obviously in franchise cricket, training is on you, so you do what you want. So you may not have to train if you don't want to train. I know overseas get the choice now of optional training. And yeah, it's basically feel good factor for me. 10 minutes is enough. If it's enough, it's enough. I'll walk out.